What's up, everyone? It's Benedict here, aka BHL Hudson. Welcome back to BHL2, the second BHL channel. And today, because it is Thanksgiving for my viewers in America, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, I wanted to talk about some Thanksgiving movies. Perhaps the ultimate Thanksgiving movie marathon. Now, I'm not saying you have to watch all these movies consecutively, because there are a lot on here, but these are just some options that I feel like fit this holiday. They fit either there are Thanksgiving scenes, as we see here on the screen, perhaps a Spider-Man mention will be made later, or they just have some kind of relation to the holiday, whether that be themes of family, themes of, well, mostly family, visuals, sort of those autumnal colors, if that's a word. So yeah, I say we just get into it. If you're looking for a movie to watch tonight with your friends, with your family, whoever you're celebrating with, if you don't celebrate also, if you just want to get in kind of a cozy mood, these are some options. So let's go through them. First pick here for Thanksgiving movies. Actually, no, this is not the first pick. Just a disclaimer, I have not seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I realize this is like the Thanksgiving movie. I haven't actually seen it. So it's probably great. It's probably great for this occasion. Putting that out there before anyone wonders where that is. First actual movie, Knives Out. Pretty obvious choice to start off, but a bit more of a recent one. And this might be the most Thanksgiving-y movie you could possibly watch. I watched it recently with Freddie for the podcast where we did a little movie commentary. And it's set in the autumn season, and it's set in in the woods with this manor, with this very autumn, chilly, everyone's in a big coat kind of vibe. And a lot of these movies, as we'll get to, a flaw with my list here is a lot of these are just like holiday related, just like Christmas related. This one is specifically not Christmassy. It captures the October, November type of time of year. Also, it's all about hanging out with your family, some of whom you might hate, which, I don't wish upon anyone. I hope everyone's happy with their family, but, people notoriously have unfortunate family interactions around Thanksgiving. So perhaps this is also relatable in that way to some people. And it's also just a banger. It's an amazing movie. Watching it again in preparation for Wake Up Dead Man. Just clever, funny, very, very entertaining. Like, there's never a dull moment. Knives Out. Highly recommend it as a Thanksgiving watch. Also, I'm not being paid here to say this, but the new one is coming out soon, so it could be a good time to fresh up on your Benoit. Next up, this one's a little more out there. I have a few of these that are like maybe not super obvious, but I wanted to try to think a little bit outside the box. I've included To Kill a Mockingbird here, the classic movie based on the classic book. Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I've not watched this movie since I was in high school when I read the book, but there is something very American about it, I guess I would say, in a positive sense. I guess Gregory Peck, to me, is like obviously the film is about like racial injustice in America, but Gregory Peck is like a symbol of like positive Americanness. He's sort of Gene Kelly coded in that way, like just like a classic American film star. And the film is about, especially with the character of Atticus Finch, maybe just Atticus Finch is like a Thanksgiving coded character to me, but like, doing the right thing, standing up for the right reasons and all this kind of stuff. It has just a wholesomeness, I guess also the small town setting. So even though, it's not a light Booker movie, there are definitely dark elements to it. I think it has positive messages, and it has American vibes, both, of course, in being about, racial injustice in America, and also the American small town, Gregory Peck, all this kind of stuff. I don't know, I just kind of see it as it popped in my head when I was thinking of this video. So, To Kill a Mockingbird, maybe it's a good time of year to revisit that movie, perhaps. Next up, the one from the opening slide, Spider-Man. Weirdly a Thanksgiving movie, I suppose, because it has, if you think of Thanksgiving scenes in film, few are more iconic than the Spider-Man one where it's Peter Parker and Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn. Also fun that him and Norman, they like color swap there, like they have their clothes colors are like each other's costumes. Again, also relates maybe to not getting along with people you're there for Thanksgiving with. Perhaps they're your literal mortal enemy in the case of Spider-Man. But yeah, it's just it's also a fun movie. There's a parade. Is it a Thanksgiving parade? I'm not entirely sure, but there's a parade in it. That's Thanksgiving-y. And it's a fun movie. Yeah, it's set around that time of year. It's a good time, specifically for the Thanksgiving scene. I feel like it should make this list. Next up, also an obvious choice, but this one I feel like is kind of mandatory viewing if you're doing some kind of Thanksgiving entertainment, if you're not watching, parades or football or whatever, if you're sitting down with everyone. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Charlie Brown, you got to throw on a Charlie Brown for every holiday. I feel like that is mandatory. And yeah, the Thanksgiving one is one of my favorites. It's super wholesome. I reference it consistently in my life, of especially because my cooking abilities are unfortunately not too much higher than that of Charlie Brown. So they make Thanksgiving and it's like Thanksgiving dinner and it's popcorn and jelly beans, this kind of stuff. I'll sometimes refer to my own meals that I make as a Charlie Brown ass meal. But yeah, it's fun for the whole family. Who doesn't love Charlie Brown, Snoopy, all that stuff. Charlie Brown, low-key kind of a depressing character in a lot of his movies or shorts or whatever they are. But also fun and wholesome. And it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 20-30 minutes or something. So you can, if you're watching another movie, you can supplement it with this. You can preempt it with this. I feel like it's a good time for everyone. So a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, it's definitely got to be on there. When Harry Met Sally. Yeah, this is one of those that is more aesthetic. It's more aesthetic reasons that I put it here. Technically more of a New Year's movie, I guess you could say, because the most iconic scene is set at New Year's. But just in terms of the visuals, the colors, they're very famous shots. And I feel like when you think of When Harry Met Sally, you think of, red, brown, autumn leaves, Central Park, those warm autumn colors, the oranges, the reds, the browns, like that kind of stuff. And for that reason, I feel like it makes for good Thanksgiving viewing. And also, it's a classic. It's wholesome. It's fun. It's a funny movie. And also, as we'll get to, because I think I have genuinely included just a Christmas movie on this list. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with getting ready for the holidays with a Thanksgiving watch. We're almost in December. A lot of people are putting up Christmas trees already. I don't know if a lot of people, but some people put up Christmas trees. Some people are playing Christmas music. It's a good transition into the Christmas season, I suppose. And also, especially if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, if you're not American, then you can also have this be sort of like the first step from autumn into winter and Christmas, which I think When Harry Met Sally is also good for. Next up, How Green Was My Valley. Not a specifically Thanksgiving movie, but I wanted to throw also a few classics in here. And yeah, this one, again, it's not set around Thanksgiving, but it is very family related. There are themes of, family in this, which I think, as I've said before, and I'm sure we'll talk about some other ones, Thanksgiving, some people don't get along with their families, but if you do get along with your family and you love your family, which hopefully you do, this is like a very wholesome movie that makes you appreciate your parents, your siblings, your kids. Might make you cry at the end. I won't spoil it, but it has a very beautiful resolution, how it all ties together. It's actually not set in America. I'm pretty sure it's set in Wales. I was going to say it also has that American small town energy, but I'm pretty certain it's set in Wales. So scratch that. But yeah, just familial happiness, that kind of theme. Throw this on the list. And also, if you've seen all the other movies I've talked about, you want to watch something new, you should watch this. It's also a great movie. Won Best Picture. How Green Was My Valley. Great film. Speaking of hating your family, I've included Shrek 2 on this list. Shrek 2, again, mostly for that one scene where they're having dinner with the bird or whatever, and him and the king, they're not having a good time. This is a great watch if you're having Thanksgiving with some in-laws, maybe. Maybe it could broker some kind of peace between you and your in-laws if you're not super close with them. You could mutually laugh at look at that, I'm like Shrek and you're like the king who wants to fucking kill me or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it would also be awkward if you watch this with in-laws you don't like. who's to say? But Shrek 2, it's a banger movie anyway. Amazing, funny film, and any excuse to watch it, I think, should be taken. And yeah, it's about, meeting your girlfriend or wife's family and learning to get along with them, even though they try to kill you or whatever. So that's also Thanksgiving, I guess, in a way. Watch Shrek 2. It's a good movie. Another classic movie here that I've included. Yeah, this is kind of unfortunate because I realized as I was about to record this, I was like, wait a minute, isn't this like literally a Christmas movie? So I have not watched this since college when I watched this for my film class. And I'm pretty certain it is actually just like a whole ass Christmas movie. That's my bad. But the reason that I thought of it was a little bit like When Harry Met Sally. These visuals, these Douglas Sirk visuals in this movie, the colors, the painting aesthetic, I want to say Norman Rockwell-esque to sound like intelligent, but I honestly am not sure if that's like an appropriate comparison, if that's even like who I'm thinking of. But like these warm color, there's something incredibly cozy about the colors and the visuals, the way Douglas Sirk does this. If you look up All That Heaven Allows and you just look at some of the stills, you'll get what I mean. And again, most of them are in service of like Christmassy visuals, like with snow outside and all this kind of stuff. But again, you're getting into the holiday spirit. And I just feel like I remember there being like reds and oranges and these kind of colors, a warmth to this movie aesthetically that fits the Thanksgiving vibe. So for that reason, again, a movie, maybe if you haven't watched it, could be a nice one to throw on. I also remember it being like quite a good movie. It's a classic movie. I don't really remember exactly what happens in it. I mostly remember just thinking like, wow, just like what a visually beautiful film. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember his name, Douglas something. We watched this in conjunction with another film that was done to pay homage to it. This is a terrible point because I can't remember the movie or the director. So let's just scratch that. But anyway, All That Heaven Allows, great film, possibly Thanksgiving-y coded slightly, more Christmas, whatever. In the same vein as When Harry Met Sally, well, kind of, because it's not really for the aesthetics or the visuals. I've thrown Annie Hall on here. Again, not with like this one's very vibe based because I don't think this is set in or around Thanksgiving. I really hope this is not another Christmas movie, and I've totally just forgotten that it is. But there is something about the comedy and the rom-com aspect of it. I just remember it being like a really nice, cozy movie. And for some reason, like when I thought of like Thanksgiving, you're watching something with your family, or if you're doing like a Friendsgiving with your friends, I just remember this having like a really lovely vibe to it. Like especially, I remember the ending. I was like, man, just ties it all together. That line about eggs or whatever it is at the end. And I was just like, man, that's a great film. So purely vibe based. This one, like I feel like if you were doing a marathon, you could definitely leave this off. Like this, this might just be a me thing. I just think when I was thinking of like Thanksgiving movies, for some reason Annie Hall popped into my head. Vibes, I guess, And then the last one here, obvious pick, Thanksgiving, the movie that came out a few years ago. This is, I would say, definitely more of a Friendsgiving movie. If you're hanging out with like your whole family, I don't know if Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is something to put on. I mean, as far as Eli Roth movies go, probably one of the better ones you could watch, but like, I don't know, it's like a Scream movie basically, and there's some pretty brutal kills. I think there's a part where someone jumps on a trampoline and lands on a knife or something, and they might be naked at the time, and that's not something I need to be watching with grandma, you know what I mean? So I would say, yeah, if you're doing a Friendsgiving and you want to do like a fun, slightly alternative to the other things I've suggested, like All That Heaven Allows and To Kill a Mockingbird and all these sort of, To Kill a Mockingbird, throw that on with grandma and the whole family. But if you're hanging out with your friends, you want to watch something kind of fun and stay in the spirit, Thanksgiving 2023 was pretty fun. Like it was surprisingly decent. I was expecting it to be a bit more like schlocky and bad, and it's not a masterpiece, but it's aware of what it is, and it's semi-parody. It's less parody than like the trailer that it's based on from the Death Proof Planet Terror thing, but it's still it's a bit self-aware, and when it's taking itself seriously, when it's like doing the movie stuff, it's like a Scream movie, which are, in my opinion, pretty solid. Nothing amazing, but like pretty entertaining. It's got some decent kills. Obviously thematically relevant to the holiday. Yeah, Thanksgiving could be a fun one, especially if you're with friends. So, those were my Thanksgiving movie suggestions, the ultimate Thanksgiving movie marathon, and or just pick any of them that you could watch. Yeah, I think vibes, aesthetics, relation to the holiday, these are the movies that came to mind. So, hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving. If you celebrate, are there any that I missed that you could think of that would fit on this list? What's your like go-to Thanksgiving movie? Feel free to let me know down below in the comments. Please subscribe, hit the like button. More videos coming soon. Yeah, subscribe if you want more videos like the one you just watched. I also have a main channel, if you somehow found this without knowing about that, BHL Hudson. I have a podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. You can find me on Instagram, BHL_Hudson, Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson. It's good stuff. Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. I'll see you next time.